pandemic fatigue, watching our country and the world for that matter move on to an online and remote environment. In the new BC era before COVID, most of us were just living our lives where we just did not foresee the changes coming nor the challenges coming our way. Despite the transitions we all had to face and continue to experience, we're excited to focus on this year's conference theme, Perspectives on Access, Innovation, Lessons Learned, and Looking Forward. Over the next 4 days, you will hear from some of the most intelligent professionals in our field, where we will reflect on the lessons we've learned in the areas of digital or virtual space, the future of accessibility, and all the new remote services we provide to our students. And yes, we continue to promote digital inclusion for all, regardless of ability. For those of you who may not know me, my name is Ben Freier. I am the director of Queensborough Community College's Services for Students with Disabilities, and I oversee CUNY's assistive technology and media accessibility projects. We are here today, nearly 1,000 strong registrants made up of disability professionals, faculty, staff, and students eager to learn. We've come together from all over the country to what has become an amazing go-to conference. Personally, I'm thrilled at our success, as this conference started out as just a, hey, I have a great idea. Back in 2008, our dear colleague, Carlos Herrera, was hired to work with me at QCC. We both had roots as assistive technology specialists, basically going back to the beginnings of AT's coming of age in the 90s. We both were eager to propose and create this accessibility conference idea to COSD, CUNY's Council on Student Disability Issues. We saw the deep need in our community to gather the brightest minds to share intelligence, to train newer professionals entering the field and faculty with questions. We truly felt that if we build it, they will come. The following year, in 2009, we presented CUNY's first accessibility conference. When we saw the enthusiastic response, we knew we had a hit on our hands. And over the years, we built it into a growing and successful annual event. Working together with our COSD colleagues, the members of the CUNY Accessibility Conference Committee, of course, CCSD, all with the blessing of our beloved champion, ABC Dr. Chris Rosa, this conference has grown into a recognized resource for the national disability community and higher education. Today, as we present our 12th edition of CUNY's annual Accessibility Conference, I'd like to take a moment to thank all our colleagues who worked tirelessly throughout the year to coordinate this event and bring us all together here today. Since he can't be here today to MC, I want to recognize Carlos Herrera and the leadership role he took facilitating this conference through the years. Carlos loved emceeing this conference, and I want to thank him for all the hard work he put in to make it a success. I also want to take a moment to thank Katz, Matt, and the entire conference planning committee members for their tireless work. Charmaine, Townsell, Christopher Layden, Raymond Perez, Johnny Nelson, Nadia Griffith-Allen, Joseph Sherman, Howard Hines Jr., Kevin Korber, Ron Besessar, Peter Santiago, Christopher Fleming, Heather Zeman, Antonia Levy, Reginald Coupe, Antonasia Tanya Kalastidis. I always mess up her name. She works for me too. And of course, Sivan Mahabir. Thank you, guys. Today, we will hear from QCC President Mangino, then VC Maybank, hopefully. Then later in the week, we will hear from our keynote, Joanne Simon, ABC Rosa, and final words from VC Cohen. Through necessity, like most others who remained employed in higher ed during the shutdowns, disability professionals had to adapt to accommodating our students with disabilities, as well as supporting faculty and staff in remote environments. Communication was key, as everyone affected had to learn the new policies and procedures being implemented in a matter of what seemed like just a few days. With new information and updates being constantly disseminated, I'm sure many of you had feelings of being overwhelmed and felt bombarded. Creating virtual spaces, conducting student intakes, proctoring exams with accommodations, using Blackboard as the main virtual classroom for tutoring and providing crucially needed support services was an unprecedented challenge, all being accomplished by any means available, using MS Teams, Zoom, Blackboard, our own phones, etc. With our amazing staff working diligently, QCC SSD office became fully operational in record time. My office staff deserves recognition for setting up MS Teams with the help of Katz and Matt, and a special thanks to QCC's SSD's very own Amy Flannery, who worked tirelessly to get us up and running. Thank you, Amy. Priding ourselves for teamwork, we are pleased we could do all these amazing things under the leadership of QCC's new president, which I'm honored and thrilled to introduce as our esteemed leader, Dr. Christine Mangino. Dr. Christine Mangino, now the 6th president of Queensborough, came to QCC from Hostos Community College, where she served as provost and vice president for academic affairs. Dr. Mangino began her education earning an associate's degree from Nassau Community College, a bachelor's and master's degree in education from Hofstra University, and a doctoral degree in instructional leadership from St. John's University. She's been an elementary school teacher, adjunct professor, assistant professor, with invitations to present at national and international conferences on topics such as differentiated instruction, learning styles, and leadership. Her reputation as a community leader speaks for itself. Her full bio is available on the conference website, but I'd like to introduce her as a friend who supports, promotes, and works as hard as anyone can towards the success of all students under her leadership, including all the students with disabilities who will benefit from your participation in today's conference. So, without further ado, Dr. Christine Mangino, take it away.
Thank you so much, Ben. I am very pleased to be here at the 12th Annual CUNY Accessibility Conference, and I want to thank the organizers and leaders and acknowledge our esteemed guests, the Honorable Joanne Simon, New York State Assembly member, Dr. Denise Maybank, CUNY Vice Chancellor of Student Affairs and Enrollment Management, Brian Cohen, CUNY Vice Chancellor for Technology and University Chief Information Officer, and Dr. Christopher Rosa, Assistant Vice Chancellor for Student Inclusion and Initiatives. One of the many rewards of working within CUNY is the opportunity each of us has to experience and celebrate the rich diversity and success of our students and the faculty and staff who support them on their journey. Designing pathways that make education accessible for our community is something that Queensborough Community College is heavily invested in. It is an essential component of our mission. Using pedagogical approaches, instructional technologies, and assessment practices to strengthen our teaching and learning and to improve all students' educational outcomes. Accessibility is a concern for each and every one of us at CUNY, and not just the 900 or so Queensborough students who's accessing the assistive technology services we provide. The need for accommodations are inherently diverse and include every gender, race, culture, sexual orientation, geographical region, age group, and socioeconomic level. Any one of us can personally need an accommodation at some point, and at least 1 in 4 adults reports having a temporary or a permanent disability. When I was a faculty member at Hostos teaching education classes, I would share my own daughter's IEP while discussing special education with my students. And every semester after that class session, Hostos students would come up to me sharing their own disability or their own realization that maybe they might have a disability. And I would be able to connect them with our Accessibility Resource Center. We need to normalize the need for services. Instead of waiting for students to self-identify, we need to remove that obstacle and proactively share the information about our centers and our support systems. A couple of the CUNY schools have partnered with the Melissa Riggio program from the AHRC, and I truly believe that that partnership has been equally, if not more rewarding for the faculty and staff and students at the various campuses, as it is for the students participating from the Melissa Riggio program. And it goes back to my previous comment about the richness and importance of diversity. Not every student learns the same way, and it is our responsibility as educators to provide information in multiple modalities to reach every student. There is a quote that I used in my dissertation that I don't have access to from home, but the gist of it is about how a farmer knows that to grow her garden of vegetables, each vegetable needs a different amount of water and sunshine, and she would be laughed at if she tried to grow all her vegetables in exactly the same way. And yet we try to teach our students exactly the same way and expect all our students to grow with the exact same amount of water and sunlight. We can and should do better. We learned many new things during this pandemic, but it also reinforced to us what we do know. That is that we have a responsibility and a duty to serve everyone in need, regardless of their temporary, situational, or permanent conditions, and to remove barriers to access and participation in all CUNY services, programs, and resources. Think about our use of captioning. It's not just a benefit for students with a hearing disability, but there's a cognitive reinforcement, and they benefit anyone whose native language is not English, which is a huge portion of CUNY and Queensborough students. And I am very proud of the CUNY Assistive Technology Services, the CATS team based at Queensborough, helping all of us to remove those barriers. Our goal is to keep CUNY on the forefront of assistive technology and provide support for these technologies used by students with disabilities who attend the various CUNY campuses. I am happy to have worked within and see CUNY from many angles for many years. And I am proud that accessibility and disability services are institutional priorities. The accessibility is not bolted on to our processes as an afterthought. That accessibility, equity, and inclusiveness are core to our duty to each other and to the public that we serve in every corner of our organization. The work we do in terms of accessibility is never finished, and we recognize that we're not perfect, that we don't always get it right, but we never stop learning, improving, and transforming lives. And I want to thank you for the opportunity to be here today, and I look forward to the conference very much. Someone who knows that work is never finished is Vice Chancellor Denise Maybank, who I've had the privilege of introducing. Dr. Maybank is a graduate of Brooklyn College, and as a first-generation college student raised in New York City, she understands the transformative powers of opportunity and education. I'm happy to say that we both have our bachelor's degree in elementary education, and Dr. Maybank earned her doctorate in counseling psychology at Michigan State University, where she later served as their vice president and associate provost for student affairs. Having worked throughout the country, developing a deep understanding of students' learning needs, Dr. Maybank believes that the work we do together in terms of accessibility, perhaps more than anything, is about assuring justice and equality in our community. Dr. Maybank is the Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs and Enrollment Management at the City University of New York, and simultaneously is serving as the interim president at Medgar Evers College. And Dr. Maybank, it's wonderful to be here with you, and I turn it over to you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mangino. I am honored to have you introduce me. That was such a privilege to have a colleague in a new role to provide that introduction for me. So thank you. And to hear your words of encouragement and your focus on accessibility were also very rewarding for me this morning. So thank you for that. I welcome all of you, friends, colleagues, those that may have just kind of stuck their head in for just a moment. We're so excited to have you here for this particular experience today. And, you know, as I think about what I heard President Mangino say, when I think about the education that I received from CUNY, being a part of this experience is special for me. The leadership of each of the presidents, the focus of all of you who do the work in this area is so encouraging to me. But I want you to know that today I am honored to be here. I'm honored to bring greetings to you from our Chancellor, Felix Matos Rodriguez. From his days as a faculty member at Hunter College, as president of Hostos Community College, and as president of Queens College, our Chancellor has developed an abiding appreciation for the critical role that disability services play in ensuring that all students have equal access to all aspects of CUNY life. And he has a deep respect for the CUNY disability services professionals who make this happen. The Chancellor sends his best regards and well wishes for a truly outstanding conference. And I'm sure that is just what we will all experience. I'm pleased to welcome all of you from around the region to this, our 12th annual Accessibility Conference. I acknowledge the robust nature of the conference offerings and want to give a shout out to those who join me today as keynote presenters for the conference. The Honorable Assembly Member Joanne Simon and my colleague, Vice Chancellor of Technology and University's Chief Information Officer, Brian Cohen. I'm sure that they too will be excited about saying anything before this august group that may help to move the activities, the actions, the curriculum, and the agenda forward. While we're absolutely thrilled to have so many of you here virtually, we eagerly look forward to the day when we can come together again at John Jay College. Have some MBJ coffee and Danish, get a free tote bag, because now that's one thing that I'm missing. I don't know what I'm going to do about my bag collection because I can no longer get to a conference. And to make sure that we renew our big, wonderful, vibrant community in person. There's a lot that we miss in this experience of COVID and in trying to make certain that everyone is safe, but our hearts stay connected. And that is what matters most. We are community, we are family, and we are focused on what matters most. And that is each person, their humanity and their dignity. I am also excited that the Accessibility Conference kicks off CUNY's 19th annual Disability Awareness Month. It's an honor to participate in CUNY's April tradition of a month-long celebration of the important contributions that CUNY students, faculty, professional staff with disabilities make to the richness of the university's life and experiences. Last week, my dear Charmaine Townsell sent me the link to a really beautiful CUNY Disability Awareness Month calendar, chock full of consciousness expanding events throughout the month. And I'm hopeful that you too will join in these events, as many as possible. And I plan to be there as well. As I look at the list, there are all types of experiences available, whether it be theater, movies, presenters, researchers, experts who are doing the work on a regular basis. We have the opportunity for discussion and for interaction that will help us to create greater awareness around the issues of accessibility and the work that must be done to ensure an inclusive environment for everyone. Over the past 6 months, I've been blessed to be able to immerse myself in all things CUNY. So much so that there are times when I feel like I've been here my whole life. And when I'm connected in the way that I am as an undergraduate student to CUNY, that is for certain. I've been here my whole life. But the reality is, comparatively speaking, I'm still a newbie. As of today, I've been at CUNY for, let's count them, 143 exciting whirlwind days. And because we've been working remotely, it seems like each day I'm still meeting new CUNY family members for the first time. So if you'll indulge me just a bit, I'm going to tell you just a little bit more about my CUNY story. You heard some of that already, but I want you to know what mattered most for me. And some folks may not have heard this piece of my story, but I went to the High School of Music and Art, so had a close relationship to the City University of New York being right across the street at the time. And as a first-generation college student, I didn't know a whole lot about what it meant to go to college or what it looked like. No one in my family could tell me about that. I know what I had seen in listening to things and watching things on television or interacting with people talking about something about college, but I didn't really know anything about it. And while in high school, right across the street from City College, I was able to go on the quad, to walk on the campus, to see what it looked like. And I knew that this was an environment that was welcoming to me, an environment that I wanted to be a part of. And the part of the story that I love to tell most is the fact that I was the good kid in my family. I was the one that wasn't going to give anybody any trouble. I liked my books. I loved education. I was going to do whatever it took to be in a classroom learning something at every given moment. So cutting class was not on my list of things to do. But there was a day, back in the day, when Earth, Wind, and Fire showed up at City College, and I cut class because I wasn't going to miss that opportunity. And so a part of my exposure to college was about Earth, Wind, and Fire. And I figured if they could do that kind of stuff on a college campus, I had to be there for that reason too. But really, it's a matter of recognizing what we get the opportunity to experience in being a part of the CUNY experience and having the city of New York as our campus. Having the city of New York as the foundation for all we get to do. And so you can see while my CUNY roots still run very deep, my return to CUNY gives me the gift of perspective. It empowers me to see all aspects of the university. Being a part of what I now know to call the Chancellery, I am excited to see what makes it all come together and to experience the individuals who keep us moving forward. The colleagues that I have at CUNY, as I watch them do what they do on behalf of 500,000 individuals at any given moment, I see commitment, I see focus, I see support for everyone to accomplish their goals. And it is that commitment that is evident as it relates to access and opportunity for students with disabilities as well. So with your indulgence, I want to just walk through some things that I've come to realize about access and opportunity for students with disabilities at CUNY, and to point to the things that I believe are critical for all of us in making certain that we provide inclusive environments for us all. And so you may remember, some of you may remember, and some of you may go, what is she talking about? But David Letterman came to be known as the person who did top 10 lists on a regular basis. And Letterman would do a top 10 list. He's the late night show host, and he would do a top 10 list about just about anything. And when he was signing off the air, they did a special top 10 list where they had a bunch of folks from movies and television shows and comedians, and they had some athletes in the mix. And they had 10 people come through and offer their comments, the things they wanted to say to Letterman. And they did that top 10 list at the end. But today you get exposure to the top 10 things that I've noticed about access for students with disabilities at CUNY. And the top 10 list always works from number 10 down. So the number one thing is that the community of students with disabilities is huge. 1,100 students with disabilities. I'm sorry, 11,000 students with disabilities. Not that I'm competitive or anything, but putting on my enrollment manager's hat, CUNY's enrollment of students with disabilities is as big as the total student enrollment of 3 Ionia colleges, 2 Adelphis, 1 Hofstra. This is the massive imprint that CUNY students with disabilities make on the higher education landscape of our city, of our state. But it only begins to tell the story of your impact. And speaking about impact, the impact that a student community has had on me personally. So number 9, because I can't go any further in this list without talking about the fact that there ain't no party like a CCSD party, because a CCSD party don't stop. I heard somebody unmute for that one. It's been such a joy to get to know and work with Junior, Alvarez, the e-board, and all the outstanding leaders of CCSD. I'm so very grateful to them for going out of their way to make me feel welcome. I love their passion. I love their grit. I love their joyful spirit. Whenever my calendar permits, I will attend any CCSD event to which I'm invited. We are all very fortunate to have CCSD advocating for the interests of all CUNY students. And what is critical here as it relates to accessibility and to what you will experience throughout the next few days is that it is about the people. It is not about what label may be attached to anyone. It is about the heart of the person. And CCSD speaks to those individuals daily. They make certain that the voices, that the faces, that the presentations of all of our students with disabilities are at the forefront. And that matters in accessibility and in making certain that students have what they need. Because if we act as though we do not see our students, we cannot make a difference in what we do for our students. So thank you, CCSD, for all you do to make certain we see our students. Working down our list, number 8. A big reason why students with disabilities are able to shine at CUNY is because of the outstanding professionals who have their backs. I'm talking about you, COSD, the talented, resourceful, dedicated disability services professionals on our campuses. They are on the front lines of ADA compliance and on the front lines of making a difference for individual students every day. At the end of the day, it is you who allow our students to experience meaningful access to the university. We're proud of you and grateful for your leadership. Some of you hear me talk about leadership in different ways, but I will tell you, leadership is about removing barriers. And so each of you, as the professionals directly responsible for addressing the needs and the issues that are associated with our students with disabilities, you remove barriers regularly. You remove literal barriers to what may keep our students from succeeding, from accomplishing their ends, from fulfilling their destiny. And that is what matters in accessibility education and understanding so that we do the things that matter. I think often about an experience I had at Michigan State University. I was in the credit union one time, and a young man who became a very wonderful advocate and kept me on my toes in relation to a number of things, and I'll come back to talk about Pio a little more. He's a scooter user, and so he uses a walker when he gets out of his scooter. But I saw him in the credit union on a day when it had snowed, and it was really hard traversing when you were fully mobile on your own. And I wondered, I had to ask how he was faring and what was going on. And it was about curb cuts, because he could not access the sidewalks that had been cleared because there were not consistent curb cuts on the path that he had to take. And so advocacy around those issues became critical. And it became evident to me because then I could see it for myself. I could see that there were barriers to movement for our students who were using wheelchairs or other means of maneuvering the campus. And it was necessary that we take a stand and do something different. And so the professionals on the campus got together and we voiced this. We took people from facilities on a walk around and we made it evident for them to join in the voices with our students to be certain that the barriers to their access were removed. That is what you do, that is who you are, and that is how you make a difference. Number 7 on our top 10 list. CUNY loves its acronyms, sometimes making it almost impossible for newbies like me to follow along. I had to buy a separate notebook just to keep track of all the CUNY acronyms, because every now and then I'm in a meeting, I have to write that one down, it'll come up again. And you really love acronyms in disability programs. There was an advisor from one of the campuses, and I had the opportunity to ask about her role. She said, CUNY leads. And I'm like, yes, it does. Yeah, let's go. CUNY leads. All right. Well, as you know, it's more than that. CUNY leads is a career readiness program. So I wrote that one down in my little notebook. Last month, I got an email from a faculty member about captioning a video for a deaf student. When I asked Dr. Shockley about this, Carrie said, she's got to see cats. Yeah, okay, all right. The something in particular about cats that plays into captioning videos? The musical maybe? Is that the cats that she needs to see in order to be able to do the video? I don't know. No, CATS is an acronym along with so many others that stands for CUNY Assistive Technology Services. So I wrote that down in the book. Truly, I'm impressed by the high quality of our signature disability programs at CUNY. And I want to give a special shout out to CATS, the project, not the musical, for all their outstanding work to bring us here today for our 12th annual conference and to make it accessible for many. There's still so much work to be done. But when I think about all that happens in assistive technology, the brilliant minds, whether they come from engineering or from computer science or from education or from psychology, the minds that come together to create assistive technologies that change the opportunity for students with disabilities, it matters greatly what you do. You bring good things to life. So for all of you who work in that space and commit to that work, I thank you. I thank you for making it possible that people who years ago would be seen as not being able to complete a college degree have fully been engaged in a way that allows them to do so. If you are a person who reads books and makes certain that they're available, that the audio options are available for students, you're participating in assistive technology services. If you assist a student who has to be able to maneuver in some way, that is an assistive service as well. And so we all have the opportunity to make a difference and to make it better and to make it brighter for someone who is wanting to accomplish the same things that they see others accomplishing. But think about just what they are overcoming as they do so. So the assistive part of what we do is only helping to afford them that opportunity. But think of who the person is, because that is the critical part. That person has a tenacity that we may not know when we are able-bodied. And I think about the lessons that I've learned over the years about the temporarily able-bodied population. You don't know when something could happen that would cause you to need the assistive technology services. So it is something we need to keep at the forefront. Number 6 on our top 10 list, the stars come out for CUNY disability programs. In March, I was honored to bring greetings at the CUNY Neurodiversity Conference, not only because we were able to recognize some real change agents in making CUNY more welcoming to students on the autism spectrum, but also because of the all-star lineup of keynote speakers. We attract stars. We were able to bring Lydia X. Brown and Ari Neiman, 2 of the most influential leaders of the neurodiversity movement, to CUNY, to lead a conversation about how we build our capacity to support the success for neurodiverse students. It was thrilling and it was impressive. I learned about things that, may have been just floating around out there, but when you bring the thinkers of a specific discipline or topic or area of research, you get the opportunity to be enlightened, to be inspired, to be motivated to learn more, to do more, and to go further. And so having that opportunity was wonderful for me. It's number 6 on the list, but top of mind for all it provided. Number 5. So you heard in the introduction that I have 2 wonderful responsibilities at CUNY. And I just have to give a shout out in my number 5 on the list of accessibility experiences for CUNY to Medgar Evers College. Medgar is in the house. While I'm getting to know all of the CUNY schools and spending time with different individuals from each, I'm getting to know one of the colleges in particular very, very well. So I'd like to take a moment of presidential privilege to shout out the college for which I am serving as interim president, Medgar Evers College, and its dedicated director of DA services. Got to throw that in there, DA, notice, services, Anthony Pfeiffer. During my time as interim president, I've challenged the members of the campus community to think about the college's brand and our identity and our visibility and the prominence. And I'm proud to say that Anthony and his colleagues have taken that to heart. They're doing that work. They're making it visible. They're making the services for students visible. And while I don't want to steal their thunder, I'm excited that later this month, they'll be rolling out the rebrand for DA services in ways that embrace and celebrate disability identity. Thanks, Anthony. I appreciate all you do and all that happens at Medgar Evers College. Now I'm back. I'm about all CUNY, not just one college, not just one way to look at things, all CUNY. I'm all in. It's not just Brooklyn. It's not just City. It's not just Medgar. It's all 25, and we're all in. Number 4, drawing quickly to a close here. Might there be a chance for a rivalry? I'm thrilled to learn that CUNY has an inclusive athletics program, a very impressive one, led by Coach Ryan Martin. And I was honored to work with inclusive athletics programs at Michigan State University. In the near future, I feel a rivalry coming on. There has to be some opportunity for me to see Michigan State and CUNY come together in something. Let's do some wheelchair basketball. Let's do some hockey and just make it happen. Let's figure something out and let's make it happen for CUNY. Whatever the name may be, we're going to come up with a name. We are going to come up with a name. And the Spartans to come together. Now, Dr. Rosa humorously refers to the CUNY team as the Flying Ryans in honor of their coach. But that kind of intersectional rivalry would be a lot of fun and a great source of CUNY spirit. I raise this because we have to think about fully engaging students with disabilities. We can't decide that, okay, yeah, we've made learning accessible by having assistive technologies. We've got some curb cuts, so now they can move around the campus in the ways that they need to when they're using a scooter or some other means of mobility. No, it's the full experience. It is the full richness of being a college student. And our students with disabilities should have access to all of it. And so making certain that we think about the spaces for competition in the sports and the opportunities for recreational activities, all of these things are a critical part of accessibility for our students. Number 3 on our top 10 list, inclusion thrives at CUNY. I'm genuinely pleased that CUNY is New York City's leader in inclusive higher education. From its inception, CUNY's mandate is to educate the whole people of New York City. We can't educate the whole people if thousands of New Yorkers with intellectual disabilities are left behind. Thanks to our CUNY Unlimited program, New Yorkers with intellectual disabilities have the opportunity to earn a U.S. Department of Education credential that empowers them to pursue a career and live independently. That, my friends, is what true inclusion is all about. Getting outside of yourself, thinking beyond your own personal ways of coming to know, coming to be, and being a part of the experience of higher education, and thinking about how we extend it beyond to others who may have been shut out and kept out. And that is what we must do. Number 2 on the top 10 list, and just one left to go after that, CUNY truly cares about its students with disabilities, about their access, their success, their well-being, and their ability to meet essential needs. As evidence of this, I am so pleased to know that our Chancellor's Emergency Fund issued almost $600,000 in a separate round of aid, specifically to provide direct support to students with disabilities. I believe this action, as much as any other taken by our university, demonstrates CUNY's earnest commitment to holistically meeting the needs of students with disabilities. We have to put our money where our mouth is. We don't have to just do that once in order for it to work. So I say, bravo, when we pay attention to the need to do something different. We can't just decide that we are going to be equal in doing everything for everyone. There has to be equity associated, and that may mean doing something a little different, and that is what is necessary. And now on the top 10 list, number 1, and there'd usually be some extra fanfare, some drum roll, something going on. Number 1 on the top 10 list of things I've learned or about accessibility at CUNY, despite all we're doing, it's not enough. We know it's not enough. I'm told that CUNY's state funding for disability services has remained flat for 27 years. So much has changed in that time. So many more people are finding a way to come to be a part of this experience, and we have to embrace them. And that in that period of 27 years, the enrollment of students with disability has grown by 50%, while the purchasing power of those state funds has eroded by 50%. That's not the way this math can work, and we survive. Essentially, campuses are challenged to accommodate 50% more students with funds that buy 50% less in services. In light of this history of underinvestment, we were heartened to receive the news over the weekend that the New York State Education Department's Enhancing Supports and Services for College Students with Disabilities funding program has made it into the final budget negotiations. It was funded at $2 million. And yes, that's less than the 7 million level proposed by state education. And it's certainly not the 15 million that a fully funded statewide program would require, but it's a start, an important start. Together, we can continue to fight for a fully funded enhancing supports program, because at the end of the day, the rights and opportunities of our students with disabilities rely on it. I believe that the advocacy of CCSD, of the professionals, of researchers, of those of us who just have a heart for the work and for the opportunity to be made available, that advocacy remains required for us to do what is going to matter. And when I think about this top 10 list and all of the ways that it challenges us and raises our awareness and causes us to think about what we do, it's what matters. I thank you for indulging me in my top 10 list. I don't think anybody is going to have to worry about me in terms of taking it over that nighttime space and do a top 10 list, but I hope I at least gave you some things to think about, some exposure to some ways that we need to be different in helping to support our students and to take it to the next level. In closing, I'd like to ask each of you to help in Imagineering. In my new role as Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs and Enrollment Management, I'm challenging our colleagues to reimagine their approach to enrollment management, to be much more intentional about our approach to enrollment management, to diversify the sources of student enrollment, to curate our incoming classes of new CUNY students in a way that opens up the possibility for shared understanding, shared meaning, and for better inclusive engagement. Growing our already large community of students with disabilities is a priority. And I believe that together we will need to reach out, convince the populations of students with disabilities that CUNY is their first choice destination in terms of college, that we will build our capacity to accommodate them, to retain them, to promote their success, to ensure that they graduate and go on to good jobs, and then re-engage them as members of the CUNY's illustrious alumni and faculty. With your support, with your barrier-removing leadership, I know we can get there together. I want to say thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today. I wish you an inspiring and enlightening accessibility conference. And I just want to say that there is so much more that we can do, so much more that we can bring as we think about bringing the greatest minds together, working from the most curious hearts to create the strongest habits that we can to support one another and to move things forward. So join me in defying gravity, and let's ultimately levitate above those things that might try to keep us bound and keep us from getting where we need to go. Let's levitate today as we explore accessibility over the next few days and make the big difference for CUNY. Thank you all.
Thank you, BC Maybank. What a dynamic speech that was. Well, big round of applause for both you and Dr. Mangino, two dynamic speakers. We all are so appreciative of your work and your help and your support in this area. Thank you, guys. Come on, give it up for her. I wish we were in an auditorium so you could hear the roars. Okay, so that was great. So now I'm supposed to tell you guys, thank you for coming. Of course, thank you for coming. We look forward to seeing you at the next session called the Development of Distance Learning Toolkit for the Higher Education Community at CUNY. This presentation starts at 12 o'clock. We ask you to rejoin the conference by using the same Zoom conference link you used to attend this session, and we're going to see you there. But this was a great opening. I thank you. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. And I thank you, President Mangino, for this level of support that GCC is going to see under your leadership. And BC Maybank, that was excellent. That top 10 list, I'll watch it over and over. All right. Thank you, guys. We'll see you in the next session.